Hey guys, welcome and ting and ting and ting. Let's get into this one here. And I've been trying to find female heroines, and I found a few during the war, the Great Wars, first and second. I did one yesterday. I do believe it went up. Cool story there, you know what I mean? But it's good to know that all of mankind has contributed something to the world in general. And this one is Flora Sandes, the British woman who fought for Serbia. Let's go ahead and YouTube and simmer and see what this lady is.
Every so often, you come across an episode of history which is just so wacky, you think that it couldn't possibly have been made up. And this is one of them. Flora Sandes was the only British woman to serve as a soldier in the First World War, but not in the British Army, in the Serbian Army. And not just that, she rose to the rank of captain and was awarded 7 medals. Now, there's already a lot of biographies out there about her and videos for me to compete against, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Rather, I want to try and answer the question, which is on all our minds and which I think a lot of these biographies have failed to answer, which is why would a British woman join and fight in the Serbian army? Well, join me as we look at this part of Yorkshire's hidden history. Churches, banners, kings and queens, factories and big machines, castles, forts and in-betweens are stories that end. But first, I need to set up a bit of background. As you know, the First World War started in 1914 when the Austro-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated by Serbian nationalists. This is because in 1908, Austria-Hungary had taken over Bosnia, and many Serbs within Bosnia and outside of it believed that Bosnia should actually be part of Serbia. As a result, Austria-Hungary on the 28th of July 1914 declared war on Serbia and invaded, and this is the context for Flora's story. Born in 1876 in North Poppleton in Yorkshire, Flora was 38 when the war started, no spring chicken. She'd already spent years training with the First Aid Nursing Yeomanry, which had quite an unfortunate acronym, but left in 1910 to join the Women's Sick and Wounded Convoy Corps, an organisation made up entirely of women dedicated to humanitarian causes. It's here that we get the first glimpse of our answer to the question, because in 1912 she went with them to Serbia and Bulgaria to help out in the First Balkan Wars. There, we can see her humanitarian dedication and her first experience of the country which she would spend so much time serving. When war broke out in 1914, naturally she wanted to help, but when she tried to join as a nurse, she was rejected due to a lack of official qualifications. Nevertheless, she joined the Volunteer St John's Ambulance Unit, who were among the first volunteers to leave Britain, and went to Serbia. There, she joined the Serbian Red Cross and aided in medical stations along the front line. It was there that she experienced the horrors which medical staff on the front lines have to endure. She survived a disease which killed 10 of her colleagues. She performed amputations, and she was attached to a regiment which experienced some of the toughest fighting on the front. However, during 1915, the tide began to turn. German forces joined Austria-Hungary, and together they forced Serbian troops to retreat through Serbia in what's called the Great Retreat. They retreated through Montenegro and Albania to safety, and during this time, most of the ambulance units Flora was with had fled or were killed, and it was at this point that she decided to become a soldier. But first, we need to learn something about Flora. Ever since she was a kid, she's dreamt of being a soldier. She used to love reading Tennyson's Charge of the Light Brigade. When she was in the First Aid Nursing Yeomanry, she learnt drill, horse riding and signalling. In her spare time, she loved to shoot and drive racing cars. This was an absolute dream come true. But more than that, I think, it was an opportunity to stand alongside and help protect the people who she'd spent so much time with and whom she'd developed such an obvious affection for. As she writes in her autobiography, "Scorching days followed by freezing nights, when we lay on the bare mountainside in clothes soaked in perspiration with no covering but our overcoats. Incessant fighting, weariness indescribable, but hand in hand with romance, adventure and comradeship, which more than made up for everything." From that we can...
No, check the vibe out, man. War and fighting, in some cases, might be the only option, a necessity. Unfortunately, that's the way humankind is. A lot of wars is not really necessary, really. But there are sometimes it is necessary. I don't think that we were built psychologically and spiritually to fight wars. Now, I guess it depends on the cause. But from a psychological perspective, we weren't built to see that kind of stuff. We weren't built to see mutilated human bodies. I don't care how tough you are or how crazy people might think you are. If that stuff doesn't affect you, then something is wrong, chemical imbalance. You're chemically imbalanced. Because if you have any sense of compassion or emotion, that stuff's going to bother you regardless to whoever gets shot, whether it be a friend or somebody on the other side or some kid that happened to be there. It's going to affect you. So psychologically speaking, we weren't built for that. Now, you could also say, to a certain degree, culturally speaking, because when you're in your own environment, in your own country, a lot of people speak peace. Not so much anymore. I don't hear that word very often in politics at all. But you're living this peaceful, nice life. Nobody's getting blown up or shot up or anything like that. So when you get tossed into that, of course it's going to affect you. It affects you if you see somebody gets hit by a car. Or somebody slip on the ice and fall and is laying motionless on the ground. It affects you. And as simple as an everyday act of somebody slipping or falling on the ice affecting you, imagine being in a battlefield situation, which is so not natural for us to be in. Because, believe it or not, I think every human being have a certain amount of respect for life. And that might sound kind of weird, but think about it. Serial killers will kill all these strangers, but very rarely kill family members. Some serial killers have families with children. They were scouting leaders, and they went to church and they sang in the choir. You know what I mean? Make me think, why are they killing the strangers and not these people that they live with? I mean, they're easy, bad way for the easy access. But I'm saying all of this to prove the point that maybe we're all not serial killers, so we're not going to go there and do stuff and then it's not affecting us. It's going to affect us even if we're not the ones doing the shooting, but we see somebody get shot. It's going to affect us. So in my opinion, we weren't built for that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, forget the shooting and the mutilated bodies. Just the sounds of war alone. Just the sound of it alone. The sound of a fighter jet flying overhead. Zoom. A few seconds later, boom, they drop a bomb. That is the most paralyzing thing a human being can. I wasn't seeing death and destruction. I was in my house, bunkered in. Or the helicopters coming over and all of a sudden, and people are dying. And your imagination goes wild. It's not normal. It's not natural for that to be. Let's get back to this here.
Can sense an obvious admiration and affection for the Serbian forces she'd spent so much time with, and so an opportunity to stand alongside them and help protect them and fulfill a childhood dream, of course she would jump at it. Serbia was one of the only armies in the world at the time who let women join, and many women had joined the army, so there's quite a precedent for Flora becoming a soldier. One of these was Milunka Savic, a Serbian hero who served in the Balkan Wars and the First World War, becoming the most highly decorated female soldier ever. Flora quickly rose to the rank of corporal and became something of an English Joan of Arc figure, held in great regard and esteem by the soldiers she served alongside. In 1916, Serbian forces had retreated to Greece and were fighting the Bulgarians in what's called the Macedonian Front. In November that year, along with other allies, the Serbians managed to capture Bitola, an area of Macedonia. Flora was involved in this firsthand, but received a grenade wound in the process. As she was recovering in hospital, she was awarded the highest military honour in Serbia and promoted to the rank of Sergeant Major. Though she was too injured to continue fighting, she spent the rest of the war running a hospital and raising money for the injured Serbians. After the war, she was promoted to the rank of captain, the first woman in the Serbian army to do so, and was finally demobilised by the government in 1922. The level of esteem and regard which the country holds for her can be seen through the fact that she even made it onto their national stamps.
Wow.
That's all I've got time for today. I wanted to do something a bit different in this video. I didn't want to just lay out the facts of her life. I wanted to explore why she was motivated to join the Serbian army, and so I hope that that's been made clear. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learnt something new. I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, that was quite interesting. It's also quite interesting that the Serbians were allowing women, well, I wouldn't say allowing, that would sound kind of misogynistic. But you know, have women, because even on my island we didn't really have an army, but during the revolution women were in the military too, you know what I mean? I got stopped several times by female soldiers with an AK-47 pointing down at me and thing, you know what I mean, because I was out when we had blackout, when all the lights in the whole country goes off, all electricity goes off, you know, and you're just walking in the dark, and then them soldiers would be, and I have no idea why they did that. People say they were just practicing just in case something happened, but that was kind of a strange time there, you know what I mean? But I wasn't really scared because we don't really shoot each other up that much, you know what I mean? We really don't do that on the island. But this was quite interesting with Flora Sandes, rose to the rank of captain and everything, and that's wow. See, the world needs to know this. Not so much so, it's just that it's the women's part. There were actually women out there fighting in the front lines, and unless it's in that country, nobody else in the rest of the world knows about these women. I'm glad I'm getting the opportunity to learn about them. And I know there's people from different countries watching this, like Canada and, you know, all these other countries. We're going to learn about all these people as much as I could get going, all right? Okay, guys, you know what I mean? I'm going to leave a link in the description to this video so you could check it out. Go ahead and comment down below and keep sending those suggestions. I do get them, as you notice, you know what I mean? They just go to a different folder because the links aren't allowed in the comment section on the videos. But I'll also leave other videos here of Serbia that I've reacted to. Keep checking them out, you know, check out the reactions and leave comments. Tell me what you all think, you know, and keep the suggestions coming. In the meantime, you all take care of each other, all right? Cool runnings.